to the 10th installment of the Real Sport in the Gijón series. We will see what has happened until the end of the season. Let's go to it. The first game, we missed the chance to guarantee the direct promotion with a bad match and lost to Alcorcón after going 1-0 up at the beginning of the match. It was a counter-attack and a corner that they came back to win the game. And that has been one of the main problems that has made us to concede many points. The set pieces. They've scored many set pieces against us, especially corners. And that shows that I neglected to train that in the match preparation. With the next game that we dominated, we achieved the win, and results in other places, namely the defeat of Jerez, meant that after this win we ensured to get direct promotion at the end of the season. It was a very comfortable game that has no big history behind it. In this game we won, as you can see, with a goal at the last minute by Mate Bilic. As you see in the stats, we were evenly matched, and they had just a very little margin of advantage. The match had various phases. At the start, they went defensively, marking tightly my men, and in the game our passes were very long and they were often intercepted, and they got most of the possession and the danger. We didn't get to their area at all. After around 25 minutes or so, I used some shots to tell my players dribbling more than they were, and less attempts at making long passes, playing narrower to make the distances to be shorter, and that seemed to work. We started to get to the area and be dangerous. We got around 3 or 4 shots near the area, but nothing came of them. Then the half time arrived, and the second half started more or less like the first. They recovered the dominance of the match, and we were at their mercy. They started to get to our area and create chances. During several minutes of them, between 50 and 70 minutes, they looked like they were the team that would score and win the match. Then I brought in Nacho Cases, and he turned things upside down. We started to dominate, arrived to the area. We got 7 shots during the time that he was in. That was more or less a quarter of an hour. He just drove their defense crazy, getting players of opposition and creating space for others to try the shots. Finally, Mate Bilic, during a counter-attack, headed across into the net. And we not only won this match, but Hercules lost their match, and that ensured that we would be the champion of the division. After that, my intention was to rotate the team and give time to some of the youths, especially Borja and Serrano. But Serrano was called for international duty with the under-20 national team, so I could only field Borja. I also put in the field Luis Hernandez, who made more or less good, but that has not been enough to keep him for the next season, and I am letting his contract run out. The match had two different halves. In the first, we passed all over them, dominating it with extreme ease. But then in the half-time, I saw that some of them were being complacent. So I told them, don't get complacent, I know you can lose that advantage. The defense reacted well, but many of the front men got stressed or angry, front men and midfielders. And the second half was completely changed. Sabadell started to get the shots and got the two goals. One was counter-attack, the other was in a normal play. For a while I thought we'd lost the match, but in the end we didn't. We even created some more danger, but we missed the shots. And the last game was against Lugo, who were already mathematically relegated. And we didn't create as many chances as we would have liked. Not a very good match, but we did the job against the team that, being mathematically relegated, was responsible for us to be the champions of the division 2 matches ago, as they are the ones who beat Hercules. You see here the final table. We won the league, as I have said a couple of times already. Hercules goes up with us to the Liga Adelante, and in the playoffs Jerez won the series to be the third team to be promoted. In the top league, Real Madrid won the league, and Osasuna, Rayo y Valladolid are the three teams that are going down, and we won't be meeting in the next season. In the end, we weren't the team that scored the most goals or the team that conceded the least, but the second in both, but that was enough to be, as we were, the champions, which is logical considering the top is not the same in either. In set pieces goals we lost the top spot, and we ended being one goal from set pieces in each category behind the top, and 3 less goals from penalties than Las Palmas. In the individual statistics of the league, we have as the most outstanding player Ivan Hernandez, who has the top average rating and the most player of the match awards. Regarding players, Mateo Bilic has ended being the top scorer of the team among all the competitions we played in, with Juan Muñiz being second goal scorer and the top in the assist charts. Daniele Paponi, who will be coming as Mateo Bilic's substitute in the starting striker position for the next year, and who has been adapting well to the team, has come as the joint third top goal scorer alongside Ivan Hernandez, and his goals from corners, 7 goals, and accompanies them with 4 assists. A very good set of performances that made me think I got it right to sign him. And I'm not unhappy that I couldn't sign Mitchell, the Brazilian player, a player who has become transfer listed, and I might like to sign still for the next season, something I can't yet do because I don't have a transfer budget to do so. So I must wait for the next July when I am given a budget to bring in new players. Interception are led by Ivan Hernandez and Gregory, with long-term injured Bernardo in 5th position, since Pedro Orfila is loaned out in another team. And there is Delorno, who sometimes plays as centre-back. Tackles attempt: Roberto Canellas the first, then Mandy, fullback, midfielder, right back, left back, centre back. That is, as you know, one of the things I want to see, for considering that my tactic works. And player of the match, Ivan Hernandez is very far ahead of anyone else with 10 player of the match awards, and Juan Muñoz second with just 3, like Gregory. Tactically wise, there's just one thing I want to say about them. I didn't create as many chances as I would have liked with a tactic that looked for being offensive. Just around an average of 10 or so shots in total, with more or less 4 or 5 on target per game. I think it's very low for trying to be offensive. One thing that is of note about this is that saying it working in the field, it looks like a narrow 4-4-2 diamond with the strikers set very wide, as the striker drops back to the midfield, forming the diamond with the defensive midfielder and the 2 central midfielders, getting into a short distance to receive the pass. So one thing that I am considering for the next season, if there is a next season, that at this point I think there will be, I may change the formation and try a 4-3-3 with the midfielder as it is, and the wingers passed forward to the striker position with instructions to play more or less wide, and see what chances come from that. And that is also something that resembles what traditionally I try to do when I am down to 10 men. When that happens, I used to make the 4 line at the back, the 4-man back line, the defensive midfielder, 2 central midfielders, and 2 strikers, with the team set to attack and get the ball forward, long passes to run onto the ball, which is something that traditionally has worked very well for me. In previous FM versions, with that, I have a very good record with 10 men, even much better than with 11 against 10. More or less like 70% wins, 10% defeats, and 20% draws, considering the results and goals scored and conceded in the time I was with 10 men. In FM13 I have counted them, and the record right now is I think 4 wins, 2 draws, 60 feet. It has come worse than in previous versions, but still is not the worst choice to go when going one man down. There is one last thing that I want to talk about, and that is that I brought some coaches for the main team and the under 19 team, and this is the final result. Initially there were Bogosian for one, had to coach a couple of different things as some others, and this was full of 2 stars and a half. Now, as you can see, the lowest is 3 stars and a half, which is much better than I had before. And in the under 19 squad, things have improved even more, because initially I had only 3 coaches, and as you can imagine, it was almost all 2 stars and a half. And this is the bad news of this update. The improvement to the youth facilities have been cancelled on account of the lack of funds. As you see, with the excess of wage budget spent, we are currently with a negative balance of more than 400,000 euros. So the projected balance for this season is shown here as 8 million. I probably should have looked upon the wages that we are paying, among other things, and looked in the possibility of offering new deals to lower wages when were possible. For next season, there are some decisions already taken. Juan Pablo will be leaving the club. I think he ends his contract this season. Luis Hernandez and Gianluca Zambrotta will also be leaving. They also end their contracts now. Ricardo I want to sell if I can, because he's old and I prefer to give his time to Sergio Alvarez, and I have already many central midfielders. Quique de Lucas is also going, because my staff doesn't stop telling me he's out of his peak, past his peak, and he's not doing anything good, so I don't have need for him. Carlos Carmona could play in the right wing, and for now he will be my first choice there, but I can still bring some right winger to be the first choice above him. Someone hopefully with very good crossing. Other than that, I don't have any more things planned already, other than I want to bring back Kevin Panevich, who's been very good when he's played, and Bernardo, because he has been very good as well, and I might do better keeping him and bringing him permanently than trying to risk someone else who might be a fluke. But we will see during the transfer window in a search what I find for centre back position, and then I will have a better look once I have a transfer budget to work with, what I need and what I want and what I can find in the transfer. Obviously I will need one goalkeeper to fill in for Juan Pablo, either as a backup or a new starting goalkeeper, which I would prefer, as Ivan Cuellar has not been bad, but his attributes doesn't look all that good to me. I don't like his decision of only 11, composure of only 8, anticipation of only 10, jumping only 12. I will need a backup right back after the departure of Luis Hernandez and Gianluca Zambrotta. Maybe another right back depending on whether Kevin Panevich and Christian Bustos can be signed permanently or not, and what other midfielders are come, because he can play maybe better in the midfielder position, and I might prefer to have someone else in the right back. But right now we have too many central midfielders, so maybe he can stay in the right back position where he's been playing. I will also want to look for a striker to be the second choice to Daniele Paponi. And Alex Serrano hopefully will get some more opportunities to play in the first team during the next season. That is all for today, I think. Thanks you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye until the next time.